Before starting, you can subscribe my YouTube channel Story One. It was early June 2017 when I took a road trip with my 9-year-old son, Tom. We were heading to West Virginia to visit some family. The trip had already been long and tiring, made worse by the fact that our car's air conditioning wasn't working. The day was hot, and by the 6-hour mark, both of us were irritated. We had left later in the afternoon, so by the time night fell, we were still on the road. It was around 9 p.m. when Tom started complaining that he needed to use the bathroom. Tension had already been growing between us during the drive, and his constant whining led to a short argument. It was about something personal I'd rather not explain here. But by then, neither of us was talking. Eventually, I spotted a blue sign for a rest area and took the exit. The area was small, just 2 bathrooms, some vending machines, and a few benches. There were no other cars around except for a big white pickup truck parked near the building. I pulled in, and Tom jumped out and ran toward the bathroom. I left the car running since I figured he'd be quick. I stayed quiet, unsure of how to break the silence between us. A minute later, I heard the back door open and close. I assumed it was Tom, still didn't say anything. I just shifted into gear and drove off. As I got back on the highway, I noticed that the white pickup truck was pulling out too. It stayed close behind me, then moved into the left lane as I did. When I sped up, so did he. Then he started flashing his headlights. Thinking he was just being aggressive, I switched lanes, but he followed, still flashing. Eventually, I slowed down, and he pulled up next to me, yelling and pointing at my car. I lowered my window a little, and he shouted, "That's not your kid in the back seat." Confused, I turned to look and my heart dropped. A grown man, tall and silent, was sitting where Tom should have been. Before I could react, the man opened the back door and ran into the woods. I slammed on the brakes and jumped out, but he was already gone. Panicking, I made a sharp turn across the grass and sped back to the rest stop. The pickup driver followed me. Within seconds, we pulled in and found Tom standing outside the bathroom, confused but safe. I was breathless, barely able to speak as I explained everything. The man in the truck did too. I thanked him again and again. Tom and I didn't argue after that. In fact, we talked the rest of the way and told our family everything the moment we arrived. I never got a clear look at the man who got into my car, and honestly, I think I'm lucky I didn't. Story 2. Not long ago, my girlfriend and I took a road trip to California. The way there was easy. We left early in the morning and made it to our hotel by night. The ride back home, though, was different. We left around midday, so most of the drive happened in the dark. It was a 10-hour trip, not counting food stops. We grabbed something to eat about 3 hours in, then again later, deep into the night. It was close to 12:30 a.m. when we pulled off the freeway for a quick stop at a Wendy's. After eating, we got right back on the road. I was driving while eating the rest of my food, and my girlfriend wasn't happy about that. It had just started raining, and she didn't want me multitasking in bad weather. The rain quickly turned into a downpour, and she asked me to pull over. I gave in, pulled to the side of the highway, and finished my food while the rain slammed against the car like a waterfall. That's when we heard a loud bang at the driver's window. At first, I thought it was something from the storm, but then I turned to see a dark figure standing there, nearly covering the whole window. My girlfriend screamed. I couldn't hear anything through the rain, so I opened the door just a crack and yelled over the noise. It was a woman, soaked, shaking, and terrified. She asked for a ride. What was I supposed to do? Say no, and leave her standing there in that weather. I told her to get in the back seat. As she climbed in, I noticed my girlfriend giving me a strange look, not angry, just uncomfortable. I asked the woman where she was going, but she didn't answer. I turned around to check on her, and she was just staring at me with a blank, cold face that gave me chills. When we pulled off the freeway for a quick stop at a Wendy's. After eating, we got right back on the road. I was driving while eating the rest of my food, and my girlfriend wasn't happy about that. It had just started raining, and she didn't want me multitasking in bad weather. The rain quickly turned into a downpour, and she asked me to pull over. I gave in, pulled to the side of the highway, and finished my food while the rain slammed against the car like a waterfall. That's when we heard a loud bang at the driver's window. At first, I thought it was something from the storm, but then I turned to see a dark figure standing there, nearly covering the whole window. My girlfriend screamed. I couldn't hear anything through the rain, so I opened the door just a crack and yelled over the noise. It was a woman, soaked, shaking, and terrified. She asked for a ride. What was I supposed to do? Say no and leave her standing there in that weather? I told her to get in the back seat. As she climbed in, I noticed my girlfriend giving me a strange look, not angry, just uncomfortable. I asked the woman where she was going, but she didn't answer. I turned around to check on her, and she was just staring at me with a blank, cold face that gave me chills. I told both of them I'd drop the woman off at the next town. That's when it happened. Out of nowhere, she let out a piercing scream and threw her arms around my neck from the back seat. I slammed on the brakes as I fought to breathe. My girlfriend scratched at the woman's face with her nails, and the screaming turned into pained howls. I jumped out, yanked open the back door, and dragged her out into the rain. She dropped to her knees, crying and saying, "Please, please," over and over again. That's all she said. I stared at her, heart racing, then got back into the car and locked the doors. She pounded on the window, screaming like someone out of a nightmare. I drove off. She wasn't a threat anymore, or so I hoped. My girlfriend immediately called the police and reported a dangerous woman on the side of the freeway. We didn't stop again after that. We just wanted to get home. And to be honest, I never want to think about that night again. Story 3. Back in 2010, I was driving my Ford F-150 from Pennsylvania all the way down to Georgia to visit family who lived in the countryside. It was supposed to be about a 14-hour drive, and I planned to do it all in one go. I got on the road around 10 in the morning. I stopped once at a deli for lunch, then again a few hours later to eat a couple of turkey sandwiches I had packed. After that, I didn't plan on stopping unless I needed gas. Around 11:30 p.m., I filled up one last time and figured I'd reach my cousin's house by 12:30. I was exhausted by then. I should have grabbed coffee at the gas station, but for some reason, I didn't. The GPS took me off the highway and onto smaller country roads. There weren't any streetlights or buildings, just trees and darkness. Luckily, my truck had a high view and a light bar that helped me see better in the pitch-black night. I was speeding a little, maybe going 55 or 60, just trying to get there as quickly as possible. The road was dead silent, no traffic, no houses, nothing but woods. Then I saw something shiny on the road ahead, and I hit the brakes. As I got closer, I realized it was a row of large traffic drums, those big orange construction barrels. I stopped the truck and got out with my baseball bat, feeling confused. Behind the barrels, I saw something even weirder, a spike strip, the kind police use to stop cars. My heart started to race. Was this a police operation? Or had someone set up a trap? That's when I heard a voice scream help from the woods on my left. I wasn't about to go wandering into the forest at night. I shouted, "What's wrong?" but got no reply. I walked toward the tree line, using my truck lights to see. In the corner of my eye, I saw someone crouching behind some bushes. I didn't stop or panic. I just slowly walked back to my truck. When I shut the door, I looked out the driver's window and saw two people standing at the edge of the trees, walking toward my vehicle. I swerved to the right side of the road, onto the dirt, and drove around the spike strip and barrels. As I looked in the rearview mirror, I saw at least 3 figures now, all standing where the trap had been set up. The red glow of my taillights made their shadows look even more eerie. A few seconds later, they disappeared behind me, swallowed up by the night. I don't know what would have happened if I had gotten out of that truck a minute later, but I'm glad I didn't wait to find out.